This is the modern Australian caste system. Find out where you stand in regards to social rank. Starting at the bottom, not surprisingly, is what still makes up the bulk of the Australian population, the taxpayers. Usually white working class people, the most exploited and undervalued class in Australia right now by a mile. These are the people who, despite how hard they're working, just don't seem to have any time or money. They're struggling to pay all of the bills, fines, registrations, licensing, hidden government fees and costs, not to mention taxes and interests. And the interest is crazy, like no one can even afford to own a basic 3-bedroom home in Australia anymore. Next up is the casual NDIS receiver. NDIS means National Disability Insurance Scheme. Close to 20% of the Australian population are legally disabled and getting paid a full weekly wage for it. This wage is provided to them by the taxpayer. 20% is huge. That's 1 in 5 people that you pass by in a shopping centre receiving money each week from the government just for being disabled or believing that they're disabled. Autism and mental health disorders also count as being disabilities, among other abstract diagnoses. But these people are a more protected and cared for class. Therefore, socially, it's more advantageous to be an NDIS receiver than it is to be a taxpayer. Next up is the immigrants. Can't oppose immigration or you're a racist neo-Nazi who needs to go to jail for being offensive. These people live in smaller spaces, work for less, their average IQ is lower, they're easier to manage, and therefore they're regarded as more desirable than the troublesome taxpayers of the past. These immigrants are usually not white people, and they enjoy numerous social advantages and benefits that average working Australian citizens don't. Some people believe the immigrants are being brought into Australia and protected because they are set to replace the traditional Australian working class. But foreign workers with no ethnic or cultural ties to the nation, lower than average IQ, happy to work long hours, live in little cubicles, eat microwave meals all day. It's the perfect slave race for big business. Of course, they're going to be considered more valuable than you. And above them, we have the managerial class in Australian society, which is media and government personnel. Basically, they exist to keep the taxpayers distracted with bread and circus, while they profile, prosecute, and harass anyone who's against this whole system, but they're not at the top of the castes. Who is at the top of the castes? There's different theories. Some people say it's the Freemasons and the Illuminati, or some conglomerate of secret societies. Probably, maybe, but there's an old saying. It's to learn who rules over you. Think of who you're not allowed to criticize. To some people it's obvious, but let's break it down for the average viewer. What is the group of people who are wealthy, influential, and legally protected from criticism? Like you can actually go to jail if you challenge them openly. That's them right there. The merchant lords. I hope this has been insightful for you because, like it or not, this is your reality. But it doesn't have to stay this way, and realistically, it can't remain this way for much longer. There is change coming, and you want to be on the right side of history when it comes. There's still hope for Australia, so don't despair. As long as we are still here, the people who founded and built this country, we still have a fighting chance.